Sorry, the light burns. Okay.
Microphones?
Yeah.
Who's going first?
I think Alan was.
I'm not going first. You can go first.
All right. Well,
Okay, let's go.
We're very organised, everyone, as
Quick,
you can
lock the doors.
clearly see.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for our Rising Storm 2 Vietnam panel. My name is Jared Creasy. I'm the community manager and part-time designer on the project. To my left of me, we have Sturt Jeffries, the lead programmer from Antimatter Games and also the lead designer from their side of the project. Beyond him, we have Adam Hatch, who's our lead designer from our side of the project. We have Alan Wilson, who's chief British person. I'm not sure what else he does. And then
Chief intelligent person.
We also have James, who's our senior QA and helps us out, the unsung hero of game development. And Mike's somewhere in the room, glad that he's not actually up on stage.
So yeah, we're here to talk about Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. I expect some of you seen some of the trailers. Anybody here played any Red Orchestra or Rising Storm in the past? That's what I like to see. Nice, thank you.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're going to talk a bit about it, show you some stuff that you may have seen bits of before, show you some stuff we hope you haven't seen before, perhaps dispel a few myths about flying. Apparently Australians can fly. We'll figure that one out in a minute.
Sturt did get here.
That's all I can say.
Okay. Moving swiftly on. Yeah, I mean, most of you played some Red Orchestra, which is good to hear. You kind of know that we started out as a mod team long time ago. Released the first game on Steam, 2005. Keep clicking quickly because this is boring. Yes. Released the first game in 2006. Heroes of Stalingrad, the second game in 2011. Rising Storm, the first version in 2013. For those of you who don't remember, we're kind of proud of the fact that both Heroes of Stalingrad and Rising Storm won Multiplayer Game of the Year from PC Gamer. So we got quite the tradition to keep up with Rising Storm 2. We announced Rising Storm 2 last year at E3. It's moved on a fair bit since then, I think it's fair to say. If we look at the team and some of the gameplay you'll see. Okay, what is Rising Storm 2 Vietnam? Hey, I can read. Thanks, Jared.
Can you?
Someone else's turn.
All right, so those of you who have played Red Orchestra in the franchise before know that we make a realistic shooter, very authentic, first-person competitive game. And hopefully it's something that you've all gotten really into and really got tied up in a match and felt it was one of the best experiences you've ever had in an online shooter. And it's our goal to continue that in tradition and improve upon it as we move into Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. So we thought about all the things that went into that experience and how we could improve them, and focusing on, because there's so much things new moving into a new era, because this is the first game outside of that World War II era where most soldiers are going to be having automatic weapons. There's new technologies available on the battlefield, such as helicopters, which we all now know are flyable in this game. And that also changed how we thought about the asymmetry, something else we've always done to at least some degree from Red Orchestra 1, where the Soviets have like the superior advantage when it comes to SMGs, but the Germans had the better machine guns in the long run. And it helped differentiate things, and we took that to an even greater extent in Rising Storm, the original expansion for Red Orchestra 2, where the Japanese were limited in their automatic weapons completely, but they got things like the bonsai charge and traps and maps designed to help offset those disadvantages and still bring you a great, intense gameplay. So, why don't you tell us more?
So, just make sure everybody can hear me well. So obviously we're continuing with having 64-player servers, trying to build on having big battles, having a really immersive experience, really feeling like you're in a war setting. And obviously the game's still based around large amount of teamwork and working with your friends and the new squad system. And the Rising Storm 2 also has 3 new game types. Territory, which is the classic one from Red Orchestra and Rising Storm. Skirmish, which is a new game type, designed around having small group of players, but can also be expanded to support more people. And then Supremacy is basically the big game type supporting all of the helicopters, a wide range of objectives rather than just attacking one at a time. There can be 4, 5, 6. And teams have to coordinate a little better, have a lot more freedom to roam around the battlefield and fight each other. And it enables a squad system to allow people to choose where they want to fight, what objective they want to attack, stuff like that.
For some of you, I mean, I don't know if any of you saw the PC Gamer piece that went out a few days ago, earlier last week. That was talking about playing Supremacy as well. And the idea with that, when you get a chance to play it, and we'll talk about beta and things like that later, when you get the chance to play it, you'll see that's the traditional territory game type is the classic RO game type. People know that, take objectives and all the rest of it. Supremacy we built up to be kind of the culmination of all that hardware with the helicopters and everything else in, more strategic, and we're talking there a little bit about the roles, so that we've changed the roles up a little bit. There's a little bit different focus on some of the roles. And the commander is going to be clearly a vital asset, so you kind of don't want your local Muppet playing commander.
Yeah, it's very much a mode we designed to allow a bit more back and forth than traditional territories, and because it is Vietnam, there's not that many battles in Vietnam that are army on army line battles.
It's
so
less about the hardline battles, which like the traditional territory game mode is really fully representative of.
it very much was a sort of a squad engagement here, there, and everywhere. So we wanted to try and replicate that a little bit, and this game mode lets us do this. So you can have one squad fighting over this objective, another one flanking around the back, and it's set up in a way that lets it happen and be natural, and it doesn't feel chaotic or it's not, there's no anarchy, which is what the bit of the worry was with the traditional territories mode, where you can cap anything at any time. So it does come together, it does feel cohesive, and as long as squads work together, it works very well. And plus, it lets us have those helicopters and make them very useful. So we do have them in territory still, but not as much.
What's the next bit? I've forgotten. Oh yeah,
When and where?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously know it's Vietnam. You understand the era, the time period. To kick off, you're going to get the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps as the U.S. factions. For the other side of the fence, for the North Vietnamese, if you give them the proper titles, the NLF and the PAV, PAVN. However you pronounce it, I've never even figured that one out. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise known as the NVA and the VC. So you're going to get both of those. And yeah, we're going to support the game for a good time to come. There's plans for the Anzacs, and wouldn't have anything to do with Sturt. For all those who don't know, by the way, the Anzacs are?
Australian New Zealand Army Corps.
Yeah, of course, you all knew that.
Yes, I'm Australian, not English, in case anybody's a little confused by my accent. Not British, and there may have been a little bit of my cultural thing pushing teensy bit for us to add Australian soldiers to this game. But it'd be good. It gives us a chance to put something in that you don't typically see in games. A few weapons you're not used to getting.
A few accents you aren't used to hearing.
That too.
Okay.
And we'll follow that up with the South Vietnamese forces.
Yeah. And people also asked about, what sort of locations. I mean, you've seen probably in bits of trailers, you've seen a lot of jungle. Unsurprisingly, it's Vietnam. We want to go for a lot of jungle environment, rice paddies and all the rest of it. But there's also going to be city fighting, some good urban battles. Hue City being one of those. What else we got lurking? Plenty of villages. You get the idea. Oh, of course, military bases. It's kind of inevitable. You need a good VC attack on fire bases, things like that going down.
There's some good variety in terrain, different areas. We've got some mountainous areas, which is always nice. We're trying to get a bit of height variation. This time around, it's not going to be a bunch of flat maps. So.
Just to build on that, as always, we plan to release our editing tools. So while we plan to have as many maps for all these modes that we can possibly get done before launch and keep making more later, the community can continue to help us and add more of those experiences as we go along, and we hope to take the best of those and make them official, as we tend to do with our games.
Oh yeah, people always like to know a release date. You probably know, if you know us by now, you know we won't give you a release date until we're completely sure we're going to be right. We've made that mistake enough times in the past.
I think there's still a poster in Alan's office.
Stop it.
It has a release date on it. It wasn't as true as he hoped.
Yeah, there was a poster for Red Orchestra 2. We just might have got the year slightly wrong. That never happens in game development. Okay, so there's, yeah, Adam, you want to talk about the beta sign-up?
Yeah, so we have a beta sign up for, or actually it's a closed beta sign up on our website. We're going to, when we start the beta, we're going to slowly introduce, a couple hundred people at a time. We're going to play it by ear, figure out how many people we need, but we're going to do multiple phases. We'll have a server up, people will play, we'll put it back down, collect feedback and iterate, and then do that over a couple of months. So, and if you sign up, you don't get in the beta, there will be multiple ways to get a key.
Yeah, I mean, the beta this time around, you've seen people do all sorts of different beta programs and these sorts of things and early access and everything else. What we're going for is, as Adam says, we're going to try and iterate a bit around the beta. We want, especially if you guys have all played Red Orchestra, we want you to come in, play the beta for, we're going to just have it up for a few days. Let's get everyone's reaction. As Adam says, collect that feedback. We'll take the thing down, and then we'll iterate on that feedback, work with it, restart, and start another section of the beta, and just go around those iterations a few times. Because it's going to make a big difference to how it plays, because it's one of the classic issues that we always run into. People like James know it only too well, is that developers, what it is we're trying to do, so we know what all the answers are. We actually need you guys to play it, and this is where we need QA to play it as well and tell us where we thought we knew it right, we weren't. Oh yeah, it's time to stop talking and show pretty pictures. You've probably seen a bunch of WebMs about the weapons. We just wanted to just give people a quick reminder of some of the weapons that are going in. First warning, of course, those sitting close to this speaker down here are probably about to go deaf. I apologize for that. Good luck. I take no responsibility whatsoever. Secondly, keep in mind the sound and everything we still haven't got in fully done, so you're hearing very much alpha.
お前らに任せた。